The opinions expressed in the following paid program do not necessarily represent those of WJZ AM 1300, CBS Radio, its employees and sponsors.
This is Nico Amato. You're listening to Terp Talk with Bruce Posner.
This is Coons Ford Terp Talk with Bruce Posner. 60 minutes of Maryland athletics and your phone calls at 410-481-1300. Now, here's Bruce Posner and Terp Talk.
There will be no continuation of Give My Regards to Broadway this year as Maryland staged a fantastic comeback to defeat the Cornell Big Red 8-7, and the man who called play-by-play of the game, and if I do say so, a good friend, and he did an excellent job of covering this game, is my buddy Booker Corrigan. Booker, welcome in tonight.
Hey, Bruce, thanks for having me so much. What a great game we saw.
Booker, let me ask you a question. Number one, I did see you got the word nifty in there at some point, all right? But,
oh, yeah.
But 5-1 at halftime, I don't think Maryland could have looked much worse. Were you surprised at how they came out in the second half?
I wasn't surprised because, as you said, the one thing they had going for them is that they could not play any worse. And in my interview with Coach Tillman after the game, and I'm sure you talked with him as well, he kind of was able to use that to build momentum and say, hey, they're not playing that great. I mean, and we played horrible, and we're only down 4. And 4 goals in lacrosse is not insurmountable in a half. So Tills, he's so even-keeled that the players get excited, but they also see him relax, and they tend to take it down a little bit, and they make better plays.
Nico Amato has been all ACC 4 years in a row, and I've been a little perturbed, along with Edward Lee, who mentioned it from the Sun Papers. Do you think he was snubbed out of being a finalist for the Tewaaraton Award?
I don't know. That's a tough one, and I never was a guy who focused too much on the individual awards, but he did go through a moment there in the season where he wasn't the best goalie in the country, and if you're going to win it, you got to be the best goalie in the country. And he went through a time where Kieran Burke was a little bit better than he was, but if it were a Lifetime Achievement Award, he would be right up there because his career at Maryland is unbelievably memorable.
I asked Tillman last week after the final home game against Navy, I said, in your 4 years of being coach here, Nico started every game and finished every game. And I said to him, have you ever considered pulling him at any moment? And he said, no. And that was it. And then he went into a whole thing about what Nico has meant. Now, you see Maryland a lot. I see him too much. I mean, I see every minute of every game, and this guy has been nothing but a leader since he's been there and a winner. And look at Maryland's performance. If they had a natty or two in there, there wouldn't have been a question, especially this year. And sometimes it is a Lifetime Achievement Award. I really believe that. But whatever, you're right. It's all about winning the title. The other stuff just doesn't mean too much. Let's move on now. Has Jesse, your buddy Jesse Kohler, is he jumping off the bridge as North Carolina? The ultimate choke again. Let's call it for what it is.
It was a joke from the opening face-off. They were never in the game. It's tragic for UNC because they have so much talent. They can't figure out how to play together. If there were 3 balls and you played 20-on-20, they'd be much better. They'd go to championship weekend every year.
How about is Bresci in any trouble, coach of the Carolina?
No. In my position as play-by-play for ESPN, we get to do a lot of conference calls, and I get to talk to these guys a lot. And the way he does things down there are fantastic. I don't want to speak out of turn, but I don't think they've had a lot of controversy. I know Nicky Galasso transferred. He was a northern guy anyway, so that doesn't bother me. That happens. But I don't think Joe Bresci's on a hot seat at all. I think if he keeps not going, he might step down just because he wants to see if somebody else can do it. But I mean, he loves Carolina, and I think Carolina loves him, and he does all the right things.
He's a great guy, but you lose 3 first. Let me tell you, if it was basketball, he'd be gone. But lacrosse ain't the big thing in Carolina. Let's be real. So
the first 2, Bruce, were in the quarterfinals, and then this year, but he did lose to Denver all 3 times.
Correct.
Correct.
All right, let's move on to what I thought, I didn't think it was an upset at all, and that was Hopkins beating Virginia. I thought Hopkins, seeing everybody who Maryland played this year, I thought Hopkins was the best team they played. I was almost praying for Syracuse to beat Bryant. I'm not kidding you, because Maryland dominated Syracuse so bad at the exposition and at ground balls that I don't care what anybody said, whatever they said about rankings, Syracuse just didn't have it. And Carcaterra might be upset, but he's picking them like to win it all because why? What did they do to deserve that kind of thought? And then once again, what's the name? Daddio got dominated again.
Yep. They don't have a great goalie. They don't. Their goaltender is not in the conversation for even All-American, let alone the Tewaaraton. But the one thing that Syracuse did do was they went up against a team that destroyed them on March 23rd, and they beat them the next time they played them. So, but for them to get the number 2 seed, I thought was insane.
Well, what bothered me about all the ranking stuff, Booker, is, Maryland, arguably the ACC was the greatest conference it's ever been in lacrosse. That's what everybody said.
Totally agree.
Who won the regular season title? It was Maryland. Take it from me.
Yeah, Maryland was number 1.
Right, and they lost.
Going into the tournament.
You'll get upset now. They lost an absolutely fluke game to Notre Dame. Yeah, all right?
Totally.
I mean, it was a weird game. Notre Dame won the game. They came alive a little bit. But, I don't look ahead, but, wow, I'd like a rematch against the Irish. That'd be a great game, number 1. But Notre Dame's got its work cut out. That's the one team I wouldn't want to play, Booker, is Albany.
I agree, especially now that they're, feeling, a step closer. I was fortunate enough to do the Albany-Denver first-round playoff game last year, and they were in it the whole way, but they just didn't make breaks for themselves, and they play in a style where if you're not getting all the 50-50 ground balls, then, you're going to find yourself a little bit behind the 8 ball, and that's what happened. Denver squeaks those out, and that, they ended up winning by 3 or 4 with empty netters. But it was a close game. Either team could have won, and those Thompsons, they are electric. Yeah,
they certainly are. Again, this is Booker Corrigan on the phone. He does the Booker Corrigan show every Thursday night. And if you're a lacrosse guy, you get a good dose of it from me, but you get 100% dose from my man Booker.
Oh, yeah. No doubt.
Booker, all right, let's talk about Bryant now. I mean, I watched him for the first time. I look in the mirror as a Terrapin fan, and I see Bryant. It seems like long possessions, great face-off guy. That's going to be a war with Charlie Raffa, a super goalie. It's almost like looking at Maryland. Of course, they don't play Maryland's schedule, but they're in the quarterfinal game going to the Final Four if they win.
Yeah, I agree. You're exactly right. They are very similar to the Terps, but they don't play the schedule that the Terps do. And when the rubber hits the road, I can't imagine the Terps can't pull this out, 12-7, 12-8.
On the basis of just maybe a little bit more talent on the offense, or on what?
On more talent, more experience, battle-tested. I mean, I know that Bryant just went into the Dome and beat Syracuse, but, Maryland did the same thing, and, they've been playing a really top flight schedule all year long. So they're ready for, to play great against a good opponent.
Gunnar Walt, great goalie, though. That's the kind of thing who could step up. I know that Tillman's taking this team extremely serious. I wonder if he would have rather played Syracuse. He'll never say, but I'm not so sure. Look, I promise you, I'd only have you on 10 minutes. You're doing the Stevenson game tonight, correct?
Oh, what a game. This is going to be Stevenson against Washington College, a rematch of last year's quarterfinals, and it's at Stevenson Mustang Stadium. It's going to be a fantastic Division III, man. They play. We're not there to watch the coaches coach. We're there to watch the players make plays.
I love Stevenson. I love watching. They got that Hikett kid at the face-off. He was drafted by the MLL. Their goalie, Dimitri, I don't know his last name. He's something else. Yeah, they are a fun team to watch, and this is a quarterfinal tonight, correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Booker, give me your Final Four. I'm going to put you on the spot.
I'll take Maryland. I'll take Notre Dame. I'll take Duke, although I'd like to see Drexel win that game. And then who's the other one?
No, you got Duke. You got Duke and Hopkins.
Duke and Hopkins. Yeah, I love Hopkins. I know so many of those kids. But if I'm picking, I guess I got to pick Duke. And then Drexel plays Denver. I'm thinking Drexel. I like those guys.
Wow. I'll go with you on Maryland. And just for experience sake, I'm going to stay with Notre Dame in that game. I'm going to go with Hopkins. I just think they're better than Duke. I think that they're going to win the ground ball battle, might lose the face-offs. But Petramala has that offense on all cylinders. And in the other game, it's hard for me to pick because I haven't seen much, but I see this kid, Jeremy Noble, and I always like the great guy in the big game. So I got to stay with Denver in that one.
Yeah, and you might be right about Hopkins. I'd love to see them find a way to win that game. And I also think, Duke's been to 7 straight championship weekends. It'll be interesting to see if they don't take it a little casually, like, hey, it's a given. Because, on paper, it's the taskmaster against the Zen master in the coaching booth. And, at some point, the taskmaster is going to take them down.
Yeah, I just, look, Duke's had a great year. How they were number one, I don't understand how Loyola was robbed of that position, but so be it. Well, Booker, I kept you until 11 minutes. I'll let you go.
That's okay.
But thanks a lot for coming on, and I'll probably get there about halftime tonight. I'm going to go to that game.
Awesome. Thanks, Bruce. Really appreciate it. Go Terps.
All right, my friend. It's Booker Corrigan, who does a phenomenal job on play-by-play on ESPN. Great show here on CBS Sports Radio on Thursday nights. Maryland was awesome last week. They're down 5-1. They come out, and I look. I'm not going to kid you. I thought they were in deep trouble. I call it the way it is. I thought they were done. I did not think they could come back. I thought the malaise was there. But what happened is I think you had a halftime speech by Captain Tyler Adelsberger. You had the seniors led by Chanachuk reinforcing Matt Rambo and Connor Cannizzaro to keep the faith, keep firing it. Eventually they'll go in. And all of a sudden you inject Carlson into the lineup. Jay Carlson, all right, from St. Paul's. You put him in the lineup. This guy is a goal hound. He finds the way to score, and he found a way to get that second goal. And it seemed like from the time they got the goal, everything turned around. Rambo and Cannizzaro were great. And, of course, what a play drawn up by who knows who in the final 10 seconds as Henry West, all with the short stick on him, hit a cross pass to Mike Chanachuk with probably 2 seconds left, who fired it into the cage, and there was no time left for anything to happen except for Maryland to celebrate, and this year send the Cornell faithful home unhappily. And I think they were in a little bit of a shock, but you kind of expected this game to go to a wire. There are no easy games when you get down to the final 8, the final 16. So Maryland right now sits at 12-3, and they're playing an upstart team. Bryant, a great face-off guy, a great goalie, long possessions, very, very similar style of play to Maryland. So far this year, Charlie Rafa has taken on everyone in the face-off X. He took on R.G. Keenan and just destroyed him for Carolina. He took on Drew Kennedy. It was no contest. He took on Liam O'Connor from Notre Dame. No contest. He has been incredible. What happens against this? This looks like his match. They both have that quick clamp. And I don't know who's going to be quicker or how it's going to go. But when face-offs are equal, then we go to ground balls. And ground balls could dictate this game because both teams are tough to beat when they have possession. And what a job the former coach of Duke, Mike Pressler, has done at Bryant University, taking this team all the way to the Final 8 here, and they're inches away from the Final 4. But, folks, it's a tough couple inches to get past the University of Maryland, and I do believe that Nico Amato and Mike Chanachuk have this team on a mission. This is a mission to go all the way. Nico doesn't want to end his career without the big title, and they're looking at this thing one play at a time. This team has it. The defense has been superb with Goran Murray and Casey Okada and Michael Earhart, number 28, the long stick midi. This team has been something else on defense. It's tough to get a ton of goals against Maryland. Tillman will have them ready to go. I can't wait for this game because this game, the winner goes to Baltimore. And when that Final Four is in Baltimore and the University of Maryland is in it, folks, for me, it just doesn't get better. And I anxiously await this. And, of course, the women will be at Towson should they beat Duke again, which they hopefully will or should. They're clearly the number one team. We'll talk about them in a little bit. But with all that, let's head out to our first break. This is Bruce Posner. You are listening to Coons Ford Terp Talk here on CBS Sports Radio 1300, and we'll be back in just a few moments.
The downtown commuters have it the worst. This report is brought to you by your Baltimore area Toyota dealers. Visit buyatoyota.com. It was the rush hour hitting and the Orioles game letting out at the same time. You are hardly moving on light. Pratt, Lombard, Howard, and then getting to 395 and 295 as if that isn't hard enough. But once you do, you are crawling just to get out to a main line. Everybody affected by this. On the Beltway, in a loop, the backup lingers from Nursery to 795. More of the same up top, Charles to Perry. Out of loop. You are waiting from the JFX all the way to get down to Security. Some crashes. York at Northern Parkway, Herring Parkway at Hill and Cold Spring at Keswick. At Toyota, legendary dependability has just taken on a whole new personality inspired by bold new designs. Search Toyota's official website, buyatoyota.com for special offers that make buying your new Toyota more affordable than ever. Toyota. I'm Liz Dravick with traffic. CBS Sports Radio, 1300.
Baltimore now has a 24-hour-a-day all-news radio station. Get traffic weekdays every 5 minutes and nights and weekends every 10 minutes. Plus weather every 4 minutes and the latest news around the clock. Preset your car radio to All News 99.1 WNEW. Baltimore now has a 24-hour-a-day all-news radio station. Get traffic weekdays every 5 minutes and nights and weekends every 10 minutes. Plus weather every 4 minutes and the latest news around the clock. Preset your car radio to All News 99.1 WNEW.
Kelly Exchange is your one-stop shop for individual and family health insurance coverage. On kellyexchange.com, you can learn about healthcare reform, find out if you qualify for a subsidy, get quotes, compare insurance plans, and purchase coverage. With over 36 years of experience in the insurance industry, kellyexchange.com is the only website you need to help you navigate the complexities and confusion of healthcare reform and purchase quality insurance for you and your family. Visit kellyexchange.com today.
My name is Mark Apple, and I'm a consumer bankruptcy attorney with Waldman, Grossfeld, Apple, and Bear. If you're afraid of losing your home, you're afraid of wages being garnished, call me, 410-437-7711, extension 4, and you'll get to my desk. We have offices located all around the Baltimore Beltway. Call me, Mark Apple, 410-437-7711, extension 4.
No one likes lawyers until they need one. But if you've dealt with an insurance company, you know that you're not in good hands, they're not good neighbors, and they're not on your side. I'm Mike Grossfeld. At Waldman, Grossfeld, Apple, and Bear, we've been protecting the rights of people for over 40 years. If you've been seriously injured in an accident, hurt on the job, or have suffered at the hands of a negligent doctor, call me, Mike Grossfeld, at 888-8-LEGAL-6. That's 888-8-LEGAL-6. We'll fight for you.
Isn't it time for your family to have the services of a financial planner? Call Rob Weissman, a chartered financial consultant. Rob has provided financial planning, investments, and insurance products to the Baltimore community for over 25 years. Rob will provide a free consultation, review your financial positions, and make recommendations. He will monitor your financial plan on an ongoing basis. Call Rob Weissman, 410-653-6260. Rob Weissman is a registered representative of Salmon Security Company, member FINRA SIPC. Baltimore, listen up. If you want crabs, you have to head to the Costas Inn on North Point Boulevard. There is no comparison in all of Maryland for the greatest crabs and crab cakes ever. Costas also serves unbelievable steamed shrimp, Greek salads, and steaks for lunch and dinner. Nick, Pete, and Costas Triantopoulos run the perfect restaurant to go with family and friends. Give Costas Inn a call at 410-477-1975 and tell them that TerpTalk Guy sent you. Trust, honesty, integrity. That's the motto of Offit & Roth, PA, certified public accountants and business consultants. Clients of Offit & Roth get personalized quality service that is beyond comparison. Check out their extensive list of services at www.offitroth.com. Co-founder Alan Roth and his son Michael, a Maryland graduate, have extensive experience working with clients in virtually every industry. Call Offit & Roth at 410-356-6600. There's no better place in Baltimore to buy your new or used car from than Coons Ford on Security Boulevard, across from Security Mall. Over the years, I have purchased many cars and trucks for GM Dennis Kolatzos, receiving the best price, service, and comfort in dealing with a top-notch executive. Coons Ford Terp Talk listeners can view their inventory at CoonsFordBaltimore.com. Coons Ford carries a huge inventory of Motor Trend's Car of the Year, the Fusion, Hybrid Escapes, the 35-mile-per-gallon Focus, Mustangs, Expeditions, and of course the F-Series trucks. Coons Ford simply likes to make a little bit of money many times. What a great place to buy your new Ford. That's Coons Ford of Baltimore, 6970 Security Boulevard, across from Security Square Mall. Take exit 17 off of 695. Remember, when you're talking cars, you're talking Coons.
Call 410-298-3800.
Your first choice for filling prescriptions in the Baltimore area should be the James Pharmacy, a Health Mart pharmacy. As a Health Mart pharmacy, the James Pharmacy has a personal commitment to its communities, is locally owned, and the pharmacists know there is nothing more important than your family's well-being. Located for the last century at 1117 Light Street in Federal Hill, the James Pharmacy is owned and operated by Avi Pelta, a University of Maryland pharmacy school graduate. Though located in Federal Hill, the James Pharmacy delivers at no charge to the entire Baltimore metro area. Outside of Baltimore, no problem. The James Pharmacy will UPS your prescriptions on a moment's notice. Open Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Saturdays from 9 to 3. Call the James Pharmacy, a Health Mart pharmacy, at 410-752-5810. Remember, Health Mart, caring for you and about you.
Hi, this is Randy Etzel, head football coach at the University of Maryland. You're listening to Terp Talk.
Welcome back to Coons Ford Terp Talk. Call 410-481-1300 now. Once again, here's Bruce Posner.
All right, back here on segment 2 of Coons Ford Terp Talk. And, of course, we have to talk about the women a little bit. They won easily over Penn, defeating it for the second time. First time was 15-5. This time was 13-5. And now they take on the Duke Blue Devils in the quarterfinal matchup for the right to go to Towson Stadium on Friday night and Sunday night of Memorial Day weekend. And, of course, Sunday night will be the national championship should they survive that long. Maryland is on a run right now. You don't know what happens in any one game, hot goalies, but Maryland is certainly poised to get their second national title under head coach Kathy Reese, who was named the ACC Coach of the Year, and win the national title. She'll probably be Coach of the Year. Right now on the phone's my good friend from Coons Ford, and that, of course, is Dennis Kolatzis. Dennis, big win for the Terps last week against Cornell.
Yeah, that was a heck of a week, and a heck of a week in the college cross.
Yeah, it was. Great comeback, and very interesting game having to play Bryant instead of Syracuse. I was talking before, and I said that, can you imagine, I would have rather played Syracuse than Bryant. Well, Dennis, when Maryland played Syracuse, they handled them. It wasn't even an issue.
No, I agree with you. And Bryant's hot right now. They have a goalie, Gunnar Walt, who went to my son's high school, St. Paul's playing real well, and they're a good team. They're on a roll.
Yeah, and great coach with Mike Pressler. It's going to be a tough game for Maryland, and Maryland's certainly foaming to get back to Baltimore for the Final Four. So we shall see what happens. Dennis, we talked before. I was not enthralled with the Ravens draft. You were certainly happier than me. I didn't feel they addressed any of the offensive problems, and I just don't understand why not.
Well, Bruce, we have to factor in that last year the team had a lot of injuries on the offensive line as well as in the backfield. And, they picked up a guard out of Penn State. His name is John Urschel, very smart guy. He'll compete. They picked up Jeremy Zuta via free agency. And to me, they must have a wink and a nod type of a deal with Eric Winston, the former Houston Texan right tackle. I think they're going to sign him after June 1st, so that way they don't have to give up any compensation to any compensatory picks to the Houston Texans. But, Ozzie and Eric DeCosta, they draft best player available, and they stayed true to the board. And when you look at what they got, the first 3 picks are just outstanding. Timmy Jernigan in the second round was an absolute steal, the defensive tackle for Florida State.
I laughed. Somebody said to me, would they have taken that guy Martin in the first round had he not fell to Dallas? And even though they had given hints about that, one thing about Ozzie and DeCostas, they never tell the truth. All right. Right or wrong?
That's why they had that liar's luncheon the week before the draft. And I don't think they would have taken Martin. Martin projects more to a guard than a tackle at the NFL level. Plus, they had such a high grade on Mosley. And C.J. Mosley was a top 10 pick in their eyes. I don't believe that Martin was there. Zach Martin would have been a top 10 pick in their eyes.
Let me ask you, how surprised were you that Dexter McDougal, who barely played this year, was drafted in the third round? A third-round pick is a virtual lock to make the team, correct?
Correct. The top 100 players are definitely a lock to make the team. Anybody selected in the third and even fourth round, they give those guys a real chance. But you know what? I think he went that high because it was a big run on cornerbacks, and they were going up the board very, very fast. So they got overvalued, and he benefited from it. As a third-round draft pick, he gets a chance to compete for a starting position.
I mean, and I don't know, you know the story about him. He's such a great kid. And
He's a great kid. He's very fast.
Yeah, I feel so happy for him because it was so like almost unfair that he gets hurt after he had that big game against West Virginia. And
right.
But that might have put him on the map, I think. How about it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he flashed potential. He had a good workout during his pro day and put himself on the map for these teams. And right now, you got to be able to stop the pass in the NFL with your corners. I mean, he's got good size and good speed.
And Demetrius Hartfield was picked up by the Packers today, a linebacker for the Terps. Surprise?
You don't miss anything.
When it comes to the Terps, I don't. All right.
Every Terp everywhere. But, yeah, that was a bit surprised, especially up in Green Bay. But Green Bay can use help at linebacker, so, not a total surprise, no.
Let me give you one more question because everybody asks me all the time, and I know you're way up on it. Matt Furstenberg, is he still around?
He's still around, but he's got an uphill battle to make the team. Although Gary Kubiak, if you look back in his career, he has carried 4 tight ends active on game day. And right now, of course, they have Pitta, they have Daniels, they have Crockett Gilmore. And so who's your 4 tight ends? So do I think he's got a chance to stick out? I really do. I mean, I think, when you run a 2 tight end scheme, you got to account for injuries. And if Pitta goes down and Daniels goes down, I mean, you got to have at least 1 more, maybe 2 more on the roster active for game day. So I think he's got a real shot to make the team. He's got to show up this year. He's got to show up in training camp. He's got to show up in the preseason. He's got to make plays to be able to make the roster.
All right. By the time the Ravens picked again, there were 5 running backs available. Devontae Freeman from Florida State, Andre Williams, Kadeem Carey from Arizona, DeAnthony Thomas from Oregon, and yet the Ravens passed. Why, Dennis?
Because the way they stacked the board, they go best player available, and there were other players, whether it was Timmy Jernigan or Terrence Brooks. I mean, we had a bigger need at free safety than a running back. They did pick up Lorenzo Taliaferro in the 4th round, 6 foot, 230-pound running back out of Coastal Carolina, a big kid with good hands, is a good pass blocker, and they'll probably pick up 1 or 2 more running backs via free agency. I
think anybody who passed Andre Williams is going to rue the day. I really mean that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe his speed won't show up in the NFL. Maybe his power won't show up. But when you got a guy running for 300 yards at a time, wow, it's hard to pass.
I think he's going to be a very good pro player. I was disappointed that the Ravens didn't draft him as well, but you can only draft so many players. We had 8 picks. We got a nice pick in the 7th round by drafting Michael Campanaro via trade with Cleveland, but you can't draft everybody. And then running back is a position now that's being, shared by 2, sometimes 3 backs.
All right, let me ask you a question. You know how high I was on Michael Campanaro. I mean, I watched him play for Wake Forest. This guy, if he doesn't look like Wes Welker, nobody does. And the Ravens traded for him. I mean, they wanted him, correct?
That's correct.
Tell me about Michael. Tell me your take on Michael Campanaro.
And I tell you why they traded for him, because the draft was so deep this year that really, at 7 rounds weren't enough. They could have had an 8th round. It was such a deep draft, and they felt that Michael Campanaro would not be there as a free agent, so that's why they traded. The surprising part was that Cleveland Browns, of all teams, who needed a wide receiver, saw fit to trade with the Ravens, and for next year's 6th round draft pick, which was probably not going to be as good as this year's 7th round draft pick, which is Michael Campanaro. You saw him, 5'9", 190 pounds. He's shifty. He finds holes in zone defenses. He's got great hands. He could be Joe Flacco's third down safety blanket.
I think you might see him doing a few punt returns too. I really do.
You may. He's a tough kid. Again, he's great hands, and like you said, Wes Welker. The comparison's not too much of a stretch.
No, it isn't, and I guess we'll see what happens. All right, tell us about what's going on over at Coons this week, Dennis.
Getting ready for our Memorial Day sale, and we've got we got 4, 5, 6 truckloads a day coming in, full of Fusion, the Fiestas, and F-150s, and Escapes and Edges, and you name it, we got it. We have a lot of late model trades on the lot. We have great financing. The financing deals have never been better. You can still get 0% for 60 months, and a lot of rebates coming back for new vehicles. So we're trading a lot of vehicles. Just a great time to visit us at Coons Ford of Baltimore.
I know one thing. Your follow-up after service is almost unbelievable. It must be something that you work on all the time, because every time I go in there, I get a call, was I waited on time? Then 3 days later, I get a call. Is everything okay? Your follow-up on service is greatly appreciated, and it's unbelievable.
No, I appreciate that. I saw Mrs. Fuller, California's mother, in my service department today. She's back from New York after Kyle was picked 14th by the Bears, and she's a fan. She's also told me it's a good shot. She'll be upgrading here in the next couple of weeks.
All right, well, that's super. And Dennis, big weekend ahead, and let's go Terps. I think you have a good chance to make that Final Four again.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I like their chances, of course, against Bryant. I think Bryant runs out of steam. The Terps should be there. And last night I also went with Christas and watched Gilman play St. Paul's, and also McDonough and Boys Latin. That was a great series. Great lacrosse last night in the MIAA.
You probably had 25 Division I college players on that field last night, huh?
Yeah, it was phenomenal. A lot of kids that we coached and played against. It's just great to watch these young men progress as they prepare for the next level. All
right, Dennis, thanks a lot for checking in, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you, my friend. Go Terps and go Ravens.
All right, Dennis Kalatzis, and local lacrosse is off the charts. There's no question about it. My mind is strictly on the college game right now because, although I'll check out the championship whenever it may be, but I can't wait for this. For this Saturday, you got 4 great games on, 2 games on Saturday, 2 games on Sunday, and you got some. Look, you got some potential upstarts in there. Drexel and Albany and Bryant. I'd be surprised if at least one of these teams, maybe even 2, pull off the upset, because the parity has arrived. Where's Virginia? Where's Syracuse? They're just not around anymore. And even though ratings are helped, they helped themselves with the ratings on past history. How in the world Syracuse became number 2, I'll never know. And Loyola really got the short end of the stick. Although you lose, you're out. But being 14-1 and losing that one game on a controversial goal, and then the reward is to have to play Albany, the team nobody wanted to play, and Albany took it to the Greyhounds, 13-6. The Great Danes took it to the Greyhounds. Just to me, an absolute shocker. Not so much that Albany won, just the way that they won. But Notre Dame's going to have their hands full. These kids, the Thompson family, they can score any which way they want. There's no question about it. With that, let's head out to our second break. This is Bruce Posner. You are listening to Coons Ford Terp Talk, and we shall be back in a few minutes here on CBS Sports Radio 1300. I just discovered a great little neighborhood gourmet pizza and Italian-type restaurant in the Harbor area. Bagby Pizza on 1006 Fleet Street is just a great, fun place to have lunch or dinner 7 days a week. Bagby's features gourmet pizza, pastas, and salads at more than reasonable prices. Service is quick. There's plenty of seating. Happy hour specials Monday through Friday, 4 to 7 p.m. But most important, the food is superb. Bagby Pizza, 410-605-0444. Billy Shriver and Terry Aronson's Tark's Grill in Green Springs Station has taken the town by storm. Everyone says the food is superb. Great salads, burgers, and steaks, and the seafood dishes are beyond expectation. At Tark's, the menu includes everything from light fare on up. Once you go, you will fall in love with the food and fun atmosphere and the reasonable pricing of this upscale restaurant. Call 410-583-TARK for reservations. The Baltimore Neurosurgery and Spine Center, whose goal is to provide the highest quality of care to our patients. We strive to apply leading-edge treatment strategies, including complex spine or brain surgery, interventional pain management, and physical therapy. The group is led by Dr. Ira Garanzik, who is joined by Dr. James Conway, Dr. H. Christopher Lawson, Dr. James Frazier in the field of neurological and spine surgery. Dr. Seth Kaufman specializes in interventional pain management. Baltimore Neurosurgery and Spine Center is located at 5051 Greenspring Avenue. Call them for an appointment at 410-664-3680. That's 410-664-3680. When it's time to sell your house in the Baltimore area, there is no one better in the entire region than Harriet Wasserman and her entire marketing group. Harriet and her Prudential team are synonymous with sales success. The Wasserman team understands every facet of selling your house in this market. Call 410-458-5300 or check out their website at www.wassermanteam.com. Call Harriet Wasserman 410-458-5300.
If things in your life are looking blurry, there's only one place to go to see straight again, and that's Levin Eye Care. Dr. Howard Levin and Dr. Richard Levin, both University of Maryland alums, have 35 years of combined experience in serving the eye care needs of their patients. With 2 great offices in Perry Hall and Parkville, these doctors can address any concerns about your vision. Call 410-529-1950 to set up an appointment. Levin Eye Care accepts most medical insurance, including Medicare.
There's no better place in Baltimore to buy your new or used car than Coons Ford on Security Boulevard, across from Security Mall. Let's talk Coons pre-owned certified used cars. All of our listeners can buy with confidence. Coons Ford of Baltimore has an exclusive 7-day exchange policy. If for any reason whatsoever customers want to exchange a vehicle within 7 days, no problem. Coons Ford simply likes to make a little bit of money many times. That is why they take a lot of time to make sure we have the lowest priced pre-owned vehicles on the web. When our listeners go to our website, CoonsBaltimoreFord.com, they will see all of the outstanding values we have to offer. That's Coons Ford of Baltimore, 6970 Security Boulevard, across from Security Square Mall. Remember, when you're talking cars, you're talking Coons.
Call 410-298-3800.
Dr. Gaber and Associates is more than an internal medicine practice. Both offices are completely equipped with physical therapy services, run by an experienced staff of registered physical therapists, Elliot Weiner, Mark Smearman, and Ken Miller. They treat arthritis, sports, auto or work injuries, post-op conditions, and more. After an initial evaluation evaluation, a treatment program is individualized and can include modalities such as neuromuscular reeducation, ultrasound, muscle stimulation, traction, work conditioning, and balance training. Don't forget it's flu season, and flu shots are now recommended for all age groups, including healthy, low-risk persons. And there's more. Dr. Gaber's practice does not have the dreaded voicemail. You will always talk to a friendly staff member. So if you are in need of a private physician, call 410-986-4400 for Dr. Gaber's office at 341 Calvert Street and 410-653-8840 for the office at 1838 Green Tree Road in Pikesville. Easy parking at both locations. The therapy office is open Saturdays 9 to 1, and Dr. Gaber accepts nearly all insurances.
Tune in to the Norris and Davis Show on 105.7 The Fan to hear who receives the Shovel of Wisdom. Sponsored by Heritage Auto Group.
This is Coons Ford Terp Talk. Call 410-481-1300 now. Once again, here's Bruce Posner.
Back here on segment 3 of Coons Ford Terp Talk. And interesting story comes out today that the 2012-13 APR scores, that's the academic achievement scores of the Maryland athletic teams, showed continued improvement. 6 sports programs led by Maryland basketball, women's basketball, field hockey, women's golf, gymnastics, and women's lacrosse earned perfect single-year APR scores of 1,000 for the 2012-13 academic year. 15 of Maryland's 20 sports programs earned single-year APR scores of 970 or higher. Football earned a multi-year score of 950 and a single-year APR score of 977. Both marks are programs' best since the APR inception in 2003. Football's multi-year score of 950 shows marked improvement from last year's 937. And so hats off to Randy Etzel on that. I mean, Turgeon, 1,000 for basketball. I don't think it's ever been there. And I'm not sure how it goes there with all the guys leaving, but I'm not sure how it works. It's extremely complicated. I always look at graduation rates, but good day for Maryland and the APR scores, which has been a bone of contention over the past few years. Hey, the Terrapin baseball team finished their season 15-14, and in the ACC, which was, I don't even remember when, that they were on that level for the season for baseball. So hats off to them. And 15-14 and 34-19 overall, just beat West Virginia the other day. So a great day for Maryland. Great day for Maryland baseball. And, of course, we talked about in the last segment lacrosse. This team is so stacked, the women's team, with Glaros and Kelly McPartlin and Taylor Cummings and Megan Dowdy. Taylor Cummings, of course, for the McDonough young lady who should be, in my opinion, the Tourton Award winner, but you never know what happens. And a lot of it does depend on how the championships go. Although lately, Maryland won the past 2 years. Maryland player won the past 2 years, and that was without winning the national title. Last week, I had a chance to talk to one of the unsung heroes of the men's lacrosse team, and that, of course, is Brian Cooper. And defensive short stick midi. This guy is like a guy you don't hear much about. Nico raves about him. He's the guy who draws, who they try and attack the short stick, and they try and attack Brian. And Brian, of course, is also one of the ground ball wizards for the University of Maryland, drafted by the Bayhawks and Dave Cottle in the MLL. So it should be interesting to see what happens with Brian Cooper when he moves up. Let's play that interview, Tish, and let everybody hear from Brian. We're here with Brian Cooper after this somewhat crucial win against Navy. Was it in your mindset you needed this win today to get that home game, or that really wasn't a matter of discussion?
I think that we knew we would have a much better chance of getting a home game had we won. That was definitely something that was on our minds for our seniors. It was senior day, but we didn't want we don't want this to be our last time to play in Burt Stadium, so we'd like to have the best opportunity to do that again.
Talk about your evolution into like the short stick midi defender. Was that something that grew as you came here?
When I was going through the recruiting process with Coach Cottle then and Coach Moran was still on the team, I pretty much knew I was going to be playing defensive midfield when I got here. My sophomore year, we had some injuries to Casey Ikeda, just had a kind of a lack of close defensemen, so I moved down to close defense, played down there for my entirety of my sophomore year. Then last year, Casey came back from injury, and we got Matt Dunn, who's a great player too, and so we were pretty short up with them, and Goran and Mike got on close defense, so they were like, could you go back to Shorty? I did that, and so it's kind of my natural position. I enjoy it. You get dodged a lot, and it's pretty fun.
Look, you've had 2 years of heartbreak when you lost the national championship. I know you and all the seniors. Somewhere it's got to be on your mind. 4 more games. What do you think?
Hopefully we can pull it together. I think that we have a crew, like you said, an experienced unit that's gone deep into the playoffs a couple times, and not only that, we've also had an early round exit, and so we know how that feels. And I can tell you, everybody in the locker room who's gone through both would much rather be playing deep into May, and that's our plan. And I think that hopefully we're in good position to do that moving forward.
Just take a minute, talk about Joey Rafa. I mean, it's almost be like we're all taking it for granted now.
Yeah.
But what he's done this year has been incredible.
Yeah, he's fantastic. I take the. Between me and Isaiah, we take pretty much every wing for the short sticks, and I just line up on the wing, the whistle blows, and more often than not, the ball's already in the back of his stick or in his stick by the time I get my head up after a couple steps. He's just fantastic. He's so athletic when he has the ball. He's not just a face-off guy, get-off guy. He will get it, and he can outrun long poles, short poles, other face-off guys. You saw with his goal today, it was pretty incredible athletic play. He plays really hard, which inspires everybody. Even if he doesn't win it cleanly, he's fighting, he's scrapping. He had a big play in the middle of the field today, I remember, where he actually lost the face-off in the first quarter, and they tried to pass it back to the short stick. He ended up causing the turnover. We ended up getting the ground ball. So he does a lot, not just facing off. He's a big energy and heartbeat guy, too.
How's Big Brother doing?
He's good. He's on the Ohio machine. I think he has a game tomorrow against.
It's Jake. Jake's on it too, right?
Jake, I think they're on the same midfield line.
That's great.
Nice.
Hey man, we wish you the best of luck going forward, and let's hope we're talking Memorial Day weekend.
Hopefully, right?
All right. Yeah, definitely. Hopefully. All right, no question about it. Great kid, crucial guy to the team, and we shall see what happens. All right. The Maryland Student Awards were the other night at College Park, sponsored by the Terrapin Club Scholarship Fund and the N Club. To no surprise, wrestler Jimmy Sheptock earned the John W. Gukison Award as the Male Athlete of the Year, and Alyssa Thomas, also to no surprise, was voted the Suzanne Tyler Female Athlete of the Year for the 3rd year in a row. Zach Steffen, goalie of the men's soccer team, and Lexi Brown, the women's basketball team, were named the Male and Female Rookie of the Year, respectively. The women's basketball team was recognized as the Terrapin Cup Team of the Year. Sasho and Brenda were the team coaches of the year. And just some other awards. I see that Kyle Convisar had a 3.0. John Auslander for basketball, a great list there. The M Club Postgraduate Scholarship goes to the male and female who excelled academically and athletically, goes to Colleen Gulick from field hockey and Elizabeth Manzi gymnastics, as well as John Kloss from men's swimming. So it was a great night there. I went to the first one, and it's I never seem to find out when the other ones are, but certainly a great night. So this brings us roundabout to the World Cup soccer team, and 4 Maryland players made the 30-man preliminary Maryland's U.S. men's national team. Think about that. 4 players from one university. No other program in the country boasted more than 1 player on the roster. Of course, for Maryland, it was Maurice Adu, Omar Gonzalez, Clarence Goodson, and Graham Susi. And to me, I would be shocked if Adu, Gonzalez, and Susi do not make the team. This, of course, is for the World Cup in June. They have 30. They're going to whittle it down to 23, very similar to what men's lacrosse does, also with a bunch of Maryland guys in it. I spoke early in the show about, funny, we didn't have any basketball talk today. Hasn't been too much to be overly excited about lately, but and on top of it, one of the point guard prospects, a fifth-year guy, a graduate, Ian Charles, was deciding between Maryland and Tennessee. Unfortunately, chose Tennessee. I spoke before about Nico Amato and the Tewaaraton Award. Nico was the first goalkeeper in the history of the ACC to be named All-ACC 4 times. He's recorded 601 career saves, becoming only the third goalie in program history to register 600. He's just one of 3 goalkeepers in the NCAA tournament field who ranks in the top 10 in goals against average. He's 4th at 7.19 and save percentage at 5.77. But it's more than that with Nico. Nico's a leader of the team. He's the heart of the team. And for 4 years, he's been the guy. And should Nico be able to take Maryland to that final step, to the promised land, and maybe even if he doesn't, if he gets us to the Final Four, he will go down as one of Maryland's greatest goalies. And to me, just game after game after game, the amount of saves he makes. And if you look at Maryland's history, you know, where are the blowouts? The blowouts aren't there. Yeah, last year, 16-8 against Rob Pennell, maybe one of the great forces in college lacrosse. But outside of that, they're just not there. Nico showed up in the big games. All his records are superb, his one-loss records. And I don't know what else to say, but I really felt like he was somewhat snubbed. So we go to the Final Four games this weekend, and okay, a couple minutes left. I was just told we look at Hopkins and Duke. Hopkins, you know, has to survive that exposition battle between Drew Kennedy for them and Brendan Fowler. I think they can, but I know one thing. If Hopkins plays with the veracity that they played Maryland going after ground balls, I do believe they'll take that game, move to the Final Four that they haven't been in for a while, and I know it'll help certainly get the Hopkins faithful off the team's back. But that's, as they say, that's their problem. But no, I wouldn't be surprised. You know, Duke's been there 7 years in a row. The Zen Master is what he's called. I call him Houdini because he gets stuff out of his team that very other guys can. And when you have a guy like Jordan Wolfe, Duke is never out of it. Their injury to a kid Luke hurt them bad. I see Hopkins advancing to the Final Four. Drexel and Denver. I got to stay with Denver because of Jeremy Noble. I like the best guy on the field in that kind of a situation. He is the best guy on the field. Drexel, though, is just totally unknown to me. The way they took care of Penn, the most overrated 4 seed in the history of men's lacrosse, was beyond belief. But then again, I didn't know that much about Penn, but how they got to be number 4, I for the life of me, I don't understand. And then, of course, you go to Notre Dame and Albany. You know, Albany is the one team I wouldn't want to play. The Thompson, the 2 brothers, and the cousin have just been absolutely electrifying. And if you let them get rolling, Hopkins stopped them by stopping them early. They stopped the Thompsons early. Hopkins jumped out. I think it was a 9-1 halftime lead. And at that point, the way the game is today, there is no coming back. So that leaves us with Maryland and Bryant. I'm certainly too biased to pick, you know, against Maryland on that one. But Bryant, you know, you beat Syracuse at the Dome, you're a heck of a team. Great face-off guy. The face-off battle between him and Charlie Rafa will be memorable. The goalie, Gunnar Walt from St. Paul's, certainly, you know, I think he's a freshman against Nico Amato. That'll be a battle. Does Maryland have that enough power to win that game? I sure think so. So for me, it's going to be Maryland, Notre Dame, and Johns Hopkins and Denver in that Final Four. And I should be picking one of the upstarts, but I sure, you know, if I had to pick one, I probably would pick Albany over Notre Dame. But Drexel could surprise me. I just don't know that much about him. And with that, that's going to wrap us up. Again, Maryland's game's on at 12 o'clock on Saturday. And, of course, the women are playing Duke for the right to go to the Final Four. This could set up to be an unbelievable weekend for University of Maryland fans. And I'll leave it at that. Don't want to look ahead, but could be big. It could be big at Towson and down in M&T Bank Stadium. That's going to wrap it up for today. It's Bruce Posner. Thanks, everybody, for listening. And thank Booker Corrigan for calling in. And I'm going to shoot on over to the Stevenson game to watch them play Washington. We will see you next week here on Terp Talk.
Video gamers, save $10 off general admission tickets today to the region's only video gamer event, Video Gamers United, coming to the DC Convention Center August 16th and 17th. If you're hooked on Candy Crush, Words with Friends, and Minecraft, then don't miss the gaming event of the year. This event is the size of 4 football fields, jam-packed with amazing games and activities for the whole family, including a costume contest. Save $10 off each ticket today. Go to vgu.eventbrite.com. That's vgu.eventbrite.com before this offer is gone.
Kelly Exchange is your one-stop shop for individual and family health insurance coverage. On kellyexchange.com, you can learn about healthcare reform, find out if you qualify for a subsidy, get quotes, compare insurance plans, and purchase coverage. With over 36 years of experience in the insurance industry, kellyexchange.com is the only website you need to help you navigate the complexities and confusion of healthcare reform and purchase quality insurance for you and your family. Visit kellyexchange.com today. Cunningham's, part of the Bagby chain, the newest restaurant in town at One Olympic Place in Towson. Free valet parking, open every night. The food there is fantastic. I've been there. Decor, the whole atmosphere at Cunningham's is super. I highly, highly recommend it. But of course, when it's part of the Bagby chain and the Smith family, you know it's going to be a success. 410-339-7730. That's Cunningham's at One Olympic Place in Towson. The Comans Brothers in Superior Tours. $32 to either the Trop or Caesar's Palace, and you get $30 back. It only costs you a deuce to go to AC. $63 round trip to New York City for a one-day trip. You got to go and come back the same day, but it only costs $63. You can't beat that. 410-602-1704. That's Superior Tours and the Comans Brothers. 410-602-1704. Mark Atman and Atman's Delicatessen have been serving Baltimore for over 81 years. It's just a fact that Atman's, open 7 days a week at 1019 East Lombard Street, has the best corned beef and deli in town. But now they've expanded into the catering side. Have a Lombard Street party or use Atman's for your condolence trays. Check it out on atmansdeli.com or call 410-563-2666 and ask for Elaine. I love Atman's Deli. The Bagby Restaurant Group presents 1010. That's 1010 Restaurant on 1010 Fleet Street. 410-244-6867. This is Southern style cooking. It's a great atmosphere, a great bar, great Sunday brunches, and I want to tell you, the food is off the charts. Blake Smith and his family really know how to present food in a restaurant. It is super, just like Bagby's Pizza is. That's 1010 Restaurant on 1010 Fleet Street, 410-244-6867.
Access Title Company, LLC, brings to you experience, relationship, and peace of mind. All great reasons to choose Access Title Company as your residential and commercial real estate settlement company. Choosing a reputable, experienced title company is crucial to a smooth settlement process. Our staff of attorneys and experienced personnel is committed to helping you through the complete process with personal attention, competitive rates, and prompt service. Access Title Company goes anywhere in the state of Maryland to perform your settlement at no additional cost to you. That's why we're Access Title. please call Melanie, our operations manager, at 410-363-8785 for additional information. That's Access Title Company at 410-363-8785.
It's my pleasure to welcome the Supreme Neighborhood Market Gourmet again to the TerpTalk family. Now under the new ownership of Andy Huffman, Gourmet again on 3717 Old Court Road continues its tradition of being a specialty food market with all meals, soups, and sandwiches being homemade. My family and all of Northwest Baltimore knows that Gourmet again is the best market around. Let Gourmet again cater any party or special occasion that you are having. I absolutely love Gourmet again. Call 410-484-9393. Gourmet Again is open 7 days a week. Visit them on the web at gourmetagain.com. The phone number, once again, 410-484-9393. That's Gourmet Again.
The opinions expressed in the preceding paid program do not necessarily represent those of WJZ AM 1300, CBS Radio, its employees and sponsors. CBS Sports Radio 1300 is WJZ AM Baltimore, WJZ FM HD3 Catonsville, Baltimore. Live sports talk 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Your home for the new CBS Sports Radio.